Beyond the memorable and fantastic characters she's played on screen, Michelle Trachtenberg has a fascinating and juicy life story that's begging to be uncovered. A few years after starting out in commercials, Michelle Trachtenberg made the jump to network TV. The young actor appeared in numerous popular shows, including Clarissa Explains It All My Children, and The Adventures of Pete and Pete. In 1996, she nabbed the leading role in Harriet the Spy, which featured a star-studded cast. Speaking to Entertainment Tonight, she said, "I turned 10 years old on the first day of principal photography on Harriet the Spy. Rosie O'Donnell was my biggest supporter. There was a lot required of me. I'm extremely grateful for the experience." Of course, child stardom can have potentially devastating effects. Fortunately for Trachtenberg, she loved growing up in show business and didn't fall into the vices many of her contemporaries did. She told HuffPost Live that she values what she has and doesn't want to do anything to ruin it.
This is how I make a living. This is how I pay my bills. This is what I hope to be doing for the next 50 years in longevity.
By the time she entered middle school, Trachtenberg seemingly had it all: an impressive acting resume, global fame, and a flourishing show business career. But it wasn't all glitz and glamour for the actor in her personal life. At school, Trachtenberg was bullied by her classmates. Speaking to Complex in 2010, she said, "When I was in elementary school, this one girl threw me down a flight of stairs, fractured my ribs, punched and fractured my nose, and told the principal I used the word and got me sent to detention. The only time I've ever been thrown in detention in my life." During junior high, Trachtenberg was tormented by a group of girls who would beat her up and hide her clothes after gym class. Several years later, though, she got the last laugh when she ran into a former bully in New York City. Trachtenberg explained how she was coming out of a restaurant and the paparazzi were lurking. She said, "They were probably waiting for Paris Hilton and I just happened to come out. I have never before or since said something like this because it's so disgusting, but I turned to her and was like, 'Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really famous. They need to take my picture. Sex for you.'" In 2000, Trachtenberg joined the cast of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Trachtenberg played Dawn Summers, Buffy's mischievous younger sister. At the time, Geller and Trachtenberg were hardly strangers. The pair had become friends years earlier while working together on All My Children. Just a few weeks before landing the role of Dawn, Trachtenberg had visited Geller on the Buffy set. Speaking to Girls Life, she said, "I'd always been a big fan of the show, but I had absolutely no idea they were casting for Dawn. When I came to visit, I met with Joss Whedon, who created the show. I kind of saw how it worked behind the scenes. Then later on, I got the call. It was an exciting process." Unfortunately for Trachtenberg, Dawn was a controversial figure in the Buffyverse. While some fans embraced the character, others felt she was childish, annoying, and unlikable. In response to the critics, Trachtenberg defended Dawn and added the character was simply behaving like a teenager would. She said, "Hi, were you a teenager? Oh, you were docile, sitting in the corner, doe-eyed and happy to be there? No, there's a reason why teenagers have a stigma, and that is what Joss wrote."
That's not true. Yes, it is.
Thanks to the success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Trachtenberg became a bona fide teen idol and went on to appear in other hits like Ice Princess and Eurotrip. However, despite gaining massive visibility from Buffy, Trachtenberg was relieved when the show ended in 2003. She told Entertainment Weekly, "When I left Buffy, I never thought I'd go back to TV because I've done it. I'm not a person to repeat myself creativity-wise, and I found TV to be rather stifling, especially Buffy. 3 years as one character, where they're not changing the character and your abilities aren't being tested or challenged, gets very repetitive." While she may have been ready to part ways with Buffy, Trachtenberg had one slight regret about her time on the show, and that was not taking more items from the magic shop.
Actually, I was texting with Sarah the other day and I was like, oh man, I should have taken a whole bunch of stuff.
As fans will recall, the aforementioned magic shop was called the Magic Box, and it was a central hangout for Buffy, Dawn, and the other characters. Considering Dawn's canonical habit of stealing from the Magic Box, fans were amused by Trachtenberg's confession.
What? What?
Surprisingly, Trachtenberg was once in the running to play Bella Swan in Twilight. That's right, she almost beat out Kristen Stewart for the role of the broody vampire lover.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
As Trachtenberg explained to Us Weekly in 2011, Twilight director Catherine Hardwicke personally approached her about playing Bella. She said, "There was definitely interest here and there because there's only so few pale girls in Hollywood. However, scheduling conflicts prevented it from happening." The Twilight saga became a smash hit, amassing an enormous cult following. Given the franchise's success, you might assume that Trachtenberg harbors regrets about declining to join the cast of Twilight. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. Trachtenberg explained that she was perfectly content with having just one vampire drama under her belt. She said, "I already have Buffy. I've already done the vampire thing." After Trachtenberg turned 18, she took on a few racier roles. In 2004, she performed a steamy, slow-motion bikini scene in the movie Eurotrip. Reflecting on the experience, Trachtenberg told Entertainment Weekly, "It was a little stressful. It was the first time that I've ever taken off that much clothing, on screen I mean, but it was such a funny situation." 2 years later, Trachtenberg bared more in the film Beautiful Ohio, but she found it creepy, as she confessed to Complex. She said, "When I was filming Beautiful Ohio and we were doing the scene with my naked tush, that was probably one of the most horrendous moments of my life. It would take an Army or Martin Scorsese to ever get me naked again. I'm very aware of screen caps." In 2005, Trachtenberg starred in the classic live-action Disney film Ice Princess, about an aspiring figure skater named Casey Carlisle. To prepare for the role, Trachtenberg had to do a lot more than simply memorize lines. As she told Screen Slam, "They told me I had to train for 8 months to be an ice skater, and that was really intense. I had to sort of work my butt off." As she revealed, she trained up to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and also did ballet. But the training paid off, as Trachtenberg was not only ready to crush it on the ice in front of the camera, but she now also had a new impressive skill in her tool belt. She told Black Film, "I do waltz jumps and I can land a single toe loop." By the time she finished the film, her coach said she had what it took to give professional ice skating a shot. However, Trachtenberg said she wasn't interested in quitting acting to pursue that path.
How do you know if you have a calling?
By the 2010s, Trachtenberg had begun taking on some of her most diverse roles yet. In 2013, the actor showed off her range in the made-for-TV biopic Killing Kennedy. The movie, which aired on the Nat Geo network, focused on the life of Lee Harvey Oswald. Trachtenberg played Oswald's wife, Marina. The actor prepared for the role with a physical transformation that channeled the real-life Marina, as she traded in her black tresses for a wavy bob, and adopted a wardrobe consisting of 60s-era house dresses. Trachtenberg also had a special skill that allowed her to forge a personal connection with her character. Like Marina Oswald, Trachtenberg is fluent in Russian. The actor learned to speak the language from her mother, who was a Russian immigrant. Speaking to the Los Angeles Times, Trachtenberg said, "She's fluent, of course, and has helped make me fluent, though not on the level that she or other Americans who came from Russia are." Thanks to her Russian proficiency, Trachtenberg's mother was able to help her embrace the role of Marina Oswald. She added, "My mom would break down each script with me and was on call every day. I'd call her up and ask her how to pronounce things like 'please don't shoot the president.'" When Buffy the Vampire premiered in 1997, the series became a pop cultural icon. Fans praised the show's creator, Joss Whedon, for portraying Buffy Summers as a paragon of women's empowerment in media. For years, Whedon was touted as a feminist hero. But things changed in 2021, when former Buffy co-star Charisma Carpenter made harrowing accusations against him. On X, Carpenter accused Whedon of verbal abuse, body shaming, and creating an overall negative experience behind the scenes. Following Carpenter's lead, Buffy star Sarah Michelle Gellar opened up about the toxic environment on the Buffy set. In an Instagram post, the actor wrote, "While I am proud to have my name associated with Buffy Summers, I don't want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon." In February 2021, Michelle Trachtenberg also spoke out against Whedon. The actor reposted Gellar's statement on Instagram with the caption, "Thank you, Sarah Michelle Gellar, for saying this. I am brave enough now as a 35-year-old woman to repost this, because this must be known." Trachtenberg also revealed that Whedon wasn't allowed to be alone with her on the set of Buffy. Like many Hollywood figures, Trachtenberg has dealt with plenty of unwelcome speculation about her looks.
There's no thinking of the repercussions of your actions and how what you say really can hurt a person.
In 2010, the actor told Complex that she'd been a victim of body shaming. She said, "It's been really hard. There are tabloid magazines that call me fat. That's hard to accept, but it's also hard to think about the girl who's not as thin as I am and who looks at me as a role model. If I'm not skinny enough, then what chance does this girl have? Despite being hurt by the negative attention, Trachtenberg has always tried her best to ignore the naysayers. These days, she's active on Instagram and uses the platform to update fans about her life. In January 2024, Trachtenberg shared a selfie on Instagram that sparked a flurry of invasive commentary. While most comments were supportive, some fans noted that the actor looked dramatically different from recent years. A few even wondered if the superstar had undergone plastic surgery. Trachtenberg was quick to shut down the plastic surgery speculation. A few hours after her initial post, she uploaded another selfie and wrote, "I've received several comments recently about my appearance. I have never had plastic surgery. I am happy and healthy. Check yourself, haters." Trachtenberg may be an iconic actor of the 90s and 2000s, but that's not all she's known for. In addition to her on-screen roles, she has also written a few scripts. As she told Entertainment Weekly in 2016, "I'm fully WGA and a writer, and have sold several projects. I feel like I'm living a Hollywood version of Harriet's life." Aside from her writing career, Trachtenberg has also dabbled in a few other aspects of show business. In 2021, the actor was an executive producer, host, and narrator on a to-be true crime docuseries called Meet, Marry, Murder. When asked about her decision to throw her hat in the true crime genre ring on Access Hollywood, she dug in to what set Meet, Marry, Murder apart from other shows.
The biggest, most important thing to me in a true crime series was honoring the families and the people that lost their loved one.
Meet, Marry, Murder wasn't the first time Trachtenberg served as an executive producer on a project. Before that, she also executive produced a web series called Guidance. The show ran for 3 seasons, and Trachtenberg played a school guidance counselor in the first season.